Republican John James is here. His Democratic colleague Pat Ryan are here. They both serve on key national security committees. They're both veterans, and they are both new to Congress. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you, and thank you for appearing together, fellas. Appreciate that. China also said it's extremely absurd and extremely irresponsible. I guess, Congressman James, whether you like it or not, you're going to have to deal with China. I mean, what does this do to that relationship at the highest level?
Well, frankly, it starts at the top, and I certainly didn't have on my bingo card President Joe Biden both saying something that I agree with and intelligible, calling Xi a dictator. I fully support that line, and I think that getting the entire country and holding the CCP accountable for some aligned actions all over the world and in the United States is absolutely the first step to getting back on the right track.
Okay, I take your point, Congressman Ryan. I mean, a lot of people may agree with it, but is it smart pool when it comes to politics?
We have to be clear about the threat from China. They are our greatest challenge, not just militarily, but economically. We have to compete with them to bring our jobs back here to America, which both John and I are working on. We have to compete with them to cut off the flow of deadly fentanyl that's pouring into districts like mine and those across the country. So absolutely, he is a dictator, and we need to compete with them in every single dimension. That strength will help deter their provocations and ensure peace and stability here in the country and across the world.
Well, the other thing he said, I know you guys are very sensitive to this, but he talked about that spy balloon. And I think this is as descriptive as he's ever gotten. He said 2 boxcars full of spy equipment in it that he didn't know was there, referring to President Xi. Congressman James, just again, is this the way to do diplomacy with a man that you have to deal with?
Well, the first thing is to dealing with a problem is to acknowledging that you have one. It's telling the truth. And I think that this is a first step. We've been saying this, and in Congress, in a bipartisan manner, established a committee to see exactly how China's been hurting us. And now to have the president on board, I think is a necessary first step. I think that Blinken just left. The president's telling the truth. And I think that with Congress looking out to protect the American people against the malign actions of the CCP, in my state in particular, forcing businesses like Ford Motor Company and General Motors to partner with entities of concern rather than building our own technology and our supply chains and our deploying our own American workforce is problematic. So as my friend Congressman Pat Ryan just said, we have to compete in every dimension to make sure that America is the first choice both here and around the world.
Okay, another topic that you guys are hot on. You're doing this together, and it looks like a great program. You both went to West Point together, is that right, Congressman Ryan? Obviously, you guys have known each other a long time. Now we've got a Republican and Democrat. You guys seem to get along. Maybe contrary to what the American people saw on the floor of the House last night around dinner time. But nonetheless, here you are. You're pushing for a bill to help veterans. What's it about in terms of apprenticeships for young men and women?
Well, and we were classmates. We lived across the hall from each other. Wow. Proud members of the class of 2004 at West Point, and we're here, and we're here to not only work on the threats from China, but to recognize, as I said, the economic competition. We have to have the whole of nation mobilized in this competition, and our bill, led by my colleague Mr. James, is about making sure that as veterans transition, and we've both been through this, they get a good paying job that helps them provide for their family, that they can be proud of, that starts to bring down the number of veteran suicides across the country, which is over 22 a day, which is absolutely unacceptable. And to show that we can do that in a bipartisan way, to your point, I'm really proud of that, and that's delivering for our constituents, delivering for our fellow veterans.
Yeah, part of this has to do with housing and tuition. You guys know that better than anyone. Going back, 19 years right now. Who's going to be against this, Congressman James?
We're going to make sure that this is a bipartisan effort, and Pat's humble. We couldn't do this. We didn't work together. It's a bipartisan effort for a nonpartisan issue. When it comes to taking care of our veterans, it's something that we can all agree to and agree with, which is why we're leading this effort. The Veterans Entry to Apprenticeship Act is something that will help provide that bridge to prosperity for veterans who are not just looking for a profession, who have skills and a passion for service, but also provide the resource they need to get into these apprenticeship programs to not only address the labor crisis, but to address the suicide crisis in the nation. We need more than just profession, but purpose. And smoothing that transition from combat or from service out in the civilian world is absolutely essential. That should not be the toughest fight we fight when we get back home. And we're doing everything that we can to look out for our brothers and sisters.
Good luck with it. We'll see how it goes. Who played the music louder back in that dorm?
We were both studying all the time.
Oh,
very serious.
Good answer. Thank you, gentlemen. Pat Ryan and John James, the Democrat and the Republican, doing things together. Yeah. Thank you.